I'm Brittany Caldwell, and I thank you for joining us on Becoming, a show where we encourage, inspire, and motivate others to become all that God has created us to be. And one of the ways that we do this is through sharing our stories of faith, perseverance, setbacks, and victories. And today's guest who will be sharing her story is Ivory. Welcome.
Hi.
I am so glad that you are here. We have been talking about this moment for a while
Girl,
now. And it's happened.
Yes,
we are here.
We are here. We are finally here.
Most people know you as Ivory. I know you as DJ.
Yes, you do. My friends call me DJ.
And again, I'm just so excited that other people will be able to hear your story. I've heard your story, and it has been such a blessing to me. Most people know you as the talented creator behind those beautiful affirmation quote cards that you post on social media every day. You post a new words of affirmation, a new quote card every day.
Pretty much,
and
yes.
And that's no small task.
Yes. No.
But they are viewed by thousands of people. They reach so many people, those are a blessing to so many people. But you do so much more than that. Most people know you as that, but you do more than that.
I do. I'm a creative director, or you could call me like a creative project manager and social media consultant. So by day, I help clients and women in leadership just really elevate their brand, connect their message to their audience, and just really show up on social media in an authentic, but a very intentional way.
Right. And you're also a talented makeup artist.
That's
how we know each other.
Yes. I'm technically retired. So Brittany knows me as a makeup artist. She sees me as this makeup artist. I do a few people's makeup, and then I'm contracted out through different organizations if they need me to come do makeup.
If they absolutely need you.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's how I met you. As we both work on for those who don't know, we both work on a television show. She's one of the talented makeup artists on the show.
Yes.
And it's funny because I didn't even know that you were the creator of my friends and family would share your content every day. And I remember one day we were talking about your devotional, which we'll get into that. And you told me that, I create these, little small quote cards, I post on Instagram. And I looked and I was like, there is nothing small about these. I know you. Like, I didn't know you were the person behind these.
I am.
But when I read them, they are so uplifting. And I feel like they always come at the perfect timing in my life.
That's crazy.
I read them and I feel like I can conquer the world. I feel like I can go out and do anything that God has called me to do when I read your quote card.
Man, that's all God,
you
honestly.
are anointed.
That's all God, because honestly, you're not the only person that say that. I am fueled by the energy that I get from social media. Well, just from your comments, like even in person, like people be like I'll be in a grocery store and somebody's like, wait a minute, you're the girl that posts those affirmations. Or if someone doesn't recognize my face, they'll be like, oh, let me follow you on social media. And sometimes will already be following me, and that's how they find out that I am the person behind those affirmations. But it's the comments, it's your comments that says, man, I felt like they were needed on that day, or, all the things. And I really believe that that's really God. So I don't really take a whole lot of credit, because just know I'm in this with you. So the same struggles, I think that they resonate so well, because I'm just like you. I'm standing in a gap for you, because when you're facing those fears, or you're not really sure of yourself that day, or the world is heavy on your shoulders, I know exactly what that feels like, so I can speak to that pain.
Right. And you can tell that you're actually walking through it with us.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of what you've been through, which we're going to get into that. Because your journey has not come without a lot of persevering through hardships, navigating grief, trusting God in the unknown.
Oh my gosh.
Having the confidence to step out on faith even when you didn't know how it was going to look.
100%.
Like your journey took you through a lot of mountaintops and valleys, a lot of hills and valleys.
Yes.
And so
it came with a cost.
It came with a cost.
Yes.
And a lot of people see you and they see you posting online like we do for a lot of people. We see their highlight reel.
100%.
And we're not realizing, no, they've been through some stuff. So we're going to get into all of that today.
Yes.
I think what I want to do is take people back.
Okay.
Kind of take people way back.
Way back. Okay.
Take people way back to think about little DJ.
Ooh.
Think about little DJ.
Okay.
And maybe say like middle school.
Okay.
What 3 words would you use to describe little DJ?
Man, that's such a hard question because I'm in therapy right now. So I am exploring little DJ because the trauma of my life has been so severe that I don't quite remember little DJ. I remember her creative. I remember her talented. And I remember her really, really kind. Just really kind.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about what life was like growing up for you as far as like your family. Talk to us about that.
You know, that's a good question. Family was different. I'm adopted, and so, you know, I wasn't really close with my biological family. I met them, but my adopted mom was very much like territorial. So I didn't meet my biological family until I was older. So family for me growing up was interesting. I knew I was adopted, didn't know my biological family. My mother and our relationship, we was like oil and water. We didn't really mesh well. She was kind of verbally and physically abusive. I love you, Mom, but you know, but I have to be honest about my story. Yeah, it was just different. It was just
difficult
relationship. It was always weird because we lived in this word of faith, just religious environment. Like we went to church, but I never saw God do the things that we was, you know, so-called going to church for. So it was just, family for me was just weird. We wasn't really close. Like, but me and my grandmother was very close. We were locked in. So that was the beautiful, that was a silver lining in all of the mess. That was the treasure that me and my grandmother were close.
Wow. And so she played a major part in your faith walk.
Yes.
Your grandmother.
100%. 100. She was a minister. She would preach and she would make us, I do remember every Wednesday night I would be in that basement in Bible study.
Oh,
yeah.
So she didn't play about that.
She didn't play about that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that helped you have that foundation.
100%.
And it helped fuel your relationship with God and your walk with
100%.
God. 100%. And then you mentioned that you started to spiral mentally, that there was a point in your life where you started to spiral. Can you talk about that?
Yes. I spiraled a couple times in my life, but I mean, the one that we talked about was probably in 2022. It was more recent. I was just in the height of my career. I mean, social media was taking off. I was traveling the world, doing all of the things. And I got a call from my adopted mom. And at this time, which I did not know, she was facing dementia. So she left a voicemail. She was like, well, if she was my child, I would talk to her more. But because I don't talk to her, I don't have to tell her nothing. And she didn't know she left that on my voicemail. And it broke my heart. Because, you know, I'm already struggling with abandonment, deep-rooted trauma, blah, 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 all this. And then I hear this, and then so I spiral. Because I'm in one of the hardest seasons of my life, because I'm at the height of my career. I can't share, I'm like trying to find people that I can like do life with. It's very hard, very lonely. And then I hear this and I spiral. Spiral mentally. And to the point where I can't really work. You know, I'm a creative, so I'm an entrepreneur. If I don't work, I do not eat. So I'm not working. I'm living off of savings. I also have a team. I have an overhead. And then this mental spiral gets me so low that I'm not bringing in the income. So I go in the red, not just personally, professionally. I lose everything. Like, imagine just spiraling to the point you don't know how to catch yourself, you know, because that leads to depression. Depression leads to this, and you have your vices, your coping mechanisms. You don't even realize that you're losing time. Days are running away from you, and you look up and you don't have any money. Your team is looking at you crazy. You can't afford your rent. Your car is on repossession. Like life comes at you so fast sometimes that I didn't even see it coming. So I spiraled into the deepest valley of my life in 2022. And that conversation with your mom is what really triggered it. It was, I would say, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. How did you form a relationship with your biological mom? Like, at what point did that happen, or was she always in your life in some way, shape, or form? So that's a really good question. So growing up, my adopted mom was very much like, you want to go back with them people? I can see. So I knew, and my aunt was very present in my life. And so because my mother was not able to take care of me in the way that I needed to, because my biological mom was on drugs heavily. So she couldn't take care of me. So it was like, they knew she was pregnant. It was kind of like my aunt was just like, you know, can you take care of her, to my mom,
to your adopted mom?
Yes, adopted mom.
So you always had a relationship with your you always knew of your family?
Yes.
You knew you had access to them if you needed it?
Yes.
Okay, and then?
Not really, but yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like when I was officially adopted, it was like this whole thing. Like they took me to the court. I knew that I was different, but like for a while though, because of whatever was going on, I was in foster care. So there was a moment where I was in foster care. I was in like a house with a whole bunch of kids running around, and she would come get me on the weekends. Okay. Like those are the small things that I remember in my childhood. But I didn't know I was in foster care until I was older. Like until like I didn't know what that was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it didn't register to me until I was older. But my aunt, and that's kind of how I knew my biological mom. We didn't have a relationship, but she kept in contact. Even as I got older, you know, she would call me once a year or a couple times a year. Or if there was something happening in Texas, she would be like, hey, just call to see, you know. But we were cool. You know, I got a chance to ask her some questions. You know, she was like, she would tell me like, I wanted to come get you, but I couldn't.
She just wasn't in a state where she knew she couldn't take care of a child.
Yeah, and my adopted mom wasn't letting me go.
Okay.
When you live your life in, you know, just in the streets and you doing drugs and, you know, you always trying to get yourself together. And then, you know, you gave me over. So it was no take backs. Does that make sense? Like my adopted mom she wanted a child. Like she wanted a daughter. She didn't know how to do right by one, but she wanted one. You know what I mean? It was like she wanted a baby doll. Right. You know, and so she got it.
But wanting a child and raising a child are two separate things. And so, so you mentioned spiraling. Thanks for sharing that story about your mother and your adopted mother. And you mentioned that you were spiraling and there are different coping mechanisms that people use. What was helping you cope, or what did you think was helping you cope during that time?
You know, during that time, it was like I wanted to cope with Jesus, but I was mad at him. So I would drink, I would smoke because it felt good and it was something I could do by myself. And I wanted to cope with friends, but I was too embarrassed to tell them. I wanted to cope with people, but it was just like I didn't trust people with my story. And so I turned to vices, and that was a coping mechanism during that time. So not saying it was good. That's what kept digging me into a deeper hole. Right. And it wasn't until I lost everything where I couldn't afford to drink. Okay. Okay. I couldn't afford to go buy nothing from nobody. I couldn't afford the edibles or the weed or the other, like that's as far as I went, but I couldn't afford it. So what do you do when you can't even afford your vices? You got to pick between having your cell phone on so people can reach you or your vice. So you have nothing. And then when you hit nothing like that, the only thing that you can run to is Jesus. So, even if you don't think he's real, you run into something. Right.
So tell us about that moment. At what moment when you hit rock bottom, what made you turn to Jesus?
So it was May 31st of maybe like 2023. I was just robbed of everything because I was getting evicted. Now, mind you, it was 2022 when I spiraled, spiraling that whole year. Top of 2023, I'm like behind on rent. Car just got repossessed. I don't have a car. So I got to move. They sent me the eviction notice, like you got to move out by the end of your lease. Lease ends May. Okay. So May 31st, I'm moving out of my apartment. I'm going somewhere, so track with me. May 31st. May 31st, I move I'm packing up to leave. I'm like, oh dang, I gotta get a storage. I go to put everything in storage. When I go get the car somehow, some way, the night, I got robbed of everything. So the stuff that I was gonna put in storage is gone. Computer gone, laptop gone, cell phone is gone. Wow. I mean, cars are gone. Everything. The only thing I had was my cell phone. So my work phone, cars, wallet, clothes, shoes, gone. Somebody had been watching me. And I remember being picked up off the apartment floor by my friend, coming to get me. I was heaving. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I lost everything. I was already moving out with an eviction notice, and you were coming to get me because I didn't have a car. And now I don't have, all I have is a cell phone. And I remember just heaving so hard, crying so hard. And I just felt the Lord say, you're going to be okay. This is hard, but you're going to be okay. Like, I just kept telling myself, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Like, that's all I could say. Like, you're going to survive this. You're going to be okay. It's going to be hard, but you're going to be okay. And I was just like, Lord, my pride was so high that I couldn't ask nobody for nothing. So the only person I could ask was the Lord. Because if he felt the safest person to ask, like, can you make a miracle for me? Because I'm scared to ask somebody. Like, can you provide for me? I don't know, because I don't want to ask anybody, and then because of the deep-seated rooted rejection. I don't want to ask somebody and then get rejected, because that's gonna kick me lower. Like, I already don't even know how I got here, and so it started there. It was hard. It was a long journey. But when I tell you, everywhere, every turn that I needed to make, the Lord was right there with. He was in the valley with me. And I never experienced that. Like, it really felt like, oh, okay.
You are real.
You are real. Okay.
Trust you.
Okay, I can trust you. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna eat today, but okay. Like, I went to a gas station. It was deciding whether to get gas at the time, because I was renting a car, or to get something to eat. And I went into the gas station, and a man was like, you know, Jesus loves you, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, because he does. And it was just like a casual conversation, little moment. And I went, got my drink, came back to the register. This man handed me $100 bill. It was like little things, little moments like that. That was really like the Lord showing me that I am with you in this valley. So it was just, that's kind of where things started to course correct. It was hard, because I felt like I just couldn't get through. Although things were taken care of, it didn't feel like I was getting over on the other side.
I feel like it's one thing after the other. Do you feel like, I know you mentioned the relationship you had with your grandmother and how she really introduced you to Christ and showed you the love of Christ, that those moments that she had, they instilled something in you so that you could pull from that when you hit rock bottom.
100%.
Like, you were able to go back to maybe like the prayers that she prayed, or even if you weren't in your word at the moment, the scriptures that she recited to you, like, all those things started to come back. You feel like that helped you in that season.
100%.
Okay.
It was like, that was the first time me realizing that even though she's gone, her prayers don't have an expiration date. It was like, I literally am a product of my grandmother's prayers. And I was like, I would think back, I can still hear the floor creak. I can still hear her knees get down on the floor. I can still hear her praying. Hear her speaking in tongues. And so that, I think, when I couldn't pray for myself, I would think back on those moments of her praying, of her getting up at 6 a.m. every morning on a prayer call, of her having me be in the basement doing Bible study, learning scriptures. Scriptures to this date I have no business knowing. Because when you don't read your Bible, how you know these scriptures?
Do you know?
I mean, there's scriptures that I know that I really honestly have no business knowing. It's because that Bible study.
That makes me think about my parents and what they have instilled in me.
100%.
Because I remember my mom, she would lead like Bible studies, and we would go to church. We always went to church, but it wasn't necessarily like the four walls of the church. Is the church lived out through them that I saw 100%. Every day. And so now in my adulthood, I'm like, all those things come back to me. I'm thankful of the prayers that my parents prayed and the teachings that they gave me through the word, and just the way that they lived out their life. And maybe this is for a parent who's watching now to just know that what they're doing every day, nothing is wasted.
Nothing is wasted.
It's gonna come back in your
The Bible even talks about what you instill in a child, in that child comes out when they get older. Like that scripture, train up a child in the way they should go, so when they're older, they won't depart from it. The Bible even talks about that. So I think, yes, to your question, to your point. My grandmother was very instrumental in my relationship with the Lord because I watched her walk with him.
Right. So during this time, with everything that you were going through, you also experienced a very deep loss.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that and just how you navigated grief during all of this?
Yeah. So it's like 2023, girl. It's July. I am staying with my friends because I'm homeless at this time. And it's 4th of July, and I get a call from my sister. And she's like, Mom is gone. And I'm like, what? So I'm holding the phone, and I'm just like holding space because I'm like, wait a minute. She was so young. She was only, I want to say 55 years old. She was not old. And she just suddenly was gone. And we had my biological mom and I, we were cool. Like I would ask her, questions. We've had conversations. She would call me here and there. But it was so deep. It cut so deep because I thought I had more time. I thought I had more time to ask her those hard questions. I thought I had more time to build a relationship. And it just showed me how fragile and how life is such a vapor. So it kind of knocked the wind out of me because immediately I was immersed into my biological family, where not intentionally there's rejection, but because I was raised, I always felt like I had to fit in with them. And I just felt like I've always lived a different life from them. So it was just one of them things like, are they going to accept me and do they want me around? I have to be here because we're siblings and this is also my mother. You know what I mean? So it was just having that weird tension, but navigating grief was so hard for me because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know me shutting down or me not having an appetite or me just constantly having a angst about life or just anxiety of if there's any underlying illnesses, like the stress of all the things. I didn't know what grief was. I had to figure out that it was actually a language, so I had to understand it. And at the same time my biological mom dies, I'm also faced with my adoptive mom with deep set dementia. So I lose one mom physically and I lose the other mom mentally. So there's no one I can talk to about my past. There's no one I can get. I am done getting answers from my parents, like from my mom. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that grief sets in. So the grief of me and my biological mom are cool. Me and my adoptive mom, we're cool, but we're estranged. So it's that grief of like, I've always had to grieve you. You're not even my real mother. And when you was my real mother, I had to also not have a mother. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so layered for me that I was like, I get so irritated about it because I'm like, first of all, you're not even my real mother. Then we don't have a good relationship. Right. And it's hard to love you. Right. But I still got to honor you. Even when you haven't been a mother to me. Right. Like, because ever since I've been on, like that, you just always working through resentment. But then because I love the Lord and I have a relationship, now I got to honor you. Okay. Right. It's like, all right, let me try to get your life to get you into a facility, make sure you're okay, care about you, a little bit, even when it's like, I would never get the apology. Right. I would never get the hard questions answered. I just have to okay.
You just have to show up.
I just have to show up.
So how did your relationship with God play a role and navigating all of this?
It was pivotal. It was I don't know how I did it without him because I understood his love for people. And I was used to sing this song, Break My Heart for What Breaks Yours. Show me how to love like you. Just like you love me. Right. Learning the love of Christ isn't just it's not people pleasing. It was, okay, I had to see the humanity of my biological mom, of my adopted mom, pardon me. I did both of them actually, because I was mad at her too. Because like, how come you didn't tell me? Like, I don't even know who my real dad is. Like, how come you didn't, I expected more from you too, but you did the best with what you had, and I had to see her humanity, that she's doing the best with what she can. She's addicted to drugs, You know, she's on and off trying to get her life together.
Right.
She doesn't have, like, she's not in a conducive environment to even do better.
Right.
You know, my adopted mom is like, okay, I have to see your humanity. You didn't know what you didn't know. You wasn't a good person because you didn't know how to be a good person. Somebody hurt you. You know what I mean? Like,
right, and you had to depend on God to help you see them through his perspective.
Yes.
And I do believe that he honors you honoring your moms that way. Like you showing up for your mom who has dementia now. Like you said, you can't get the answers to your questions, but you're still showing up and you're showing the love of God. He sees those things. And that's what I've realized just in life in general. A lot of times it's easy to do things for God when we know we're going to get the recognition or the praise. But it's harder when it's like behind the scenes, when no one sees it. But God sees it.
It's really that character piece. It's like, you know, you could live with this resentment. You can live with this forgiveness. But you would never heal the grief that, you know, like you are never going to heal.
That's the thing. It's healing you by doing those things. It's not necessarily always about what it does for the other person, which we hope will heal them, but it's healing you by you showing up for your mom.
100%.
And so looking back, so we talked about grief. We talked about you navigating the strained relationship you had with both of your mothers. You running a business, you being homeless. Looking back on all of that, because sometimes when we're in the midst of it, it's hard to see God's hand in our lives, and we feel like we're forgotten by God. And a lot of times we don't see him in our story until we get to the other side of our story. So looking back, how do you see God's hand on your life in those moments?
That's such a great question. I saw God's hand on my life in those moments by showing me his true love for me. We have this relationship where I feel like he talks to me a certain way, but I feel like he had to strip everything down from me so that he could really show me him doing it for me, because I'm a doer. I'm a worker. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do my part. I know what to say. Because I have always been the professional bonus daughter, because I wasn't mothered, because I was always the outcast, I've always learned how to fit in. I've always learned how to be liked from a deep-seated rooted insecurity of not being wanted because why did my mama want me? Why did she give, like, those were the thoughts. And then the mama that I am with, how come she don't love me like she loved her other kids? Like, how come it's always something? Like, how come she can't show up for me like that? So I learned that if I just try to be a good person, I learned how to do the right things. So there's this running joke, and I'm gonna get to my point. There's this running joke where everybody's like, everybody loves you. Like, you're the favorite everywhere. Like, everybody just loves you. And I love that people say that. Don't get me wrong. It's a compliment. But it also speaks to the insecurity of me always knowing how to fit in. Always knowing how to, and some people say it's also a blessing too. It's also a part of God's gift to me, is because I know how to walk in a room and make everybody feel loved, but it's both and. And so God really had to show me that it's not going to be your work ethic. It's not going to be how well you're liked. It's not going to be how good you show up that's going to make me do or give or make purpose out of your life. So he had to strip me. I know how to make money, but I couldn't this time. I know how to show up, but I couldn't this time. And so he had to make me so weak to show me his strength.
You have to rely on him completely.
I had to rely on him. And so I feel like that was his way of showing me what the love of God really is, because I didn't really know it, because for a long time I was fabricating it. And so now I can't take the credit for it. Like, everything that happens in my life, every good and perfect gift comes from God. Every good moment that I have is because I know the Lord I can really say the Lord did it. Finagle my way, finesse my way, good character my way, do the right thing my way into a blessing, and then give him credit.
God's word actually says when we are weak, he is strong. And so what you just described right now is that word in action. That's the upside down kingdom. Like, you would think, okay, let me be strong. Let me, like you said, try to do what I can do and do it all in my own strength. But it's amazing how when we surrender to God,
100%,
then his strength is really able to show up in our lives.
And it's that surrendering and that process where you realize you were never even meant to be this strong. I never created you to try to be strong, DJ. That's what I felt like he was telling me. I never created you to be liked. I want people to like you, but you weren't created to be liked. I never created by everybody. You get what I'm saying?
Like, Jesus wasn't liked by
everybody.
He wasn't.
He was like, I have set you apart.
Right.
And I have to, and I will, and I told the Lord, I said, I will do whatever you say. There's nothing you can tell me about faith. There's nothing you can tell me about trusting in the Lord's goodness, because He will bring you through.
Right.
He will. It might be hard, but He will bring you through.
Right. I love that, DJ. And I love how even in the midst of all this, you were being obedient to God, because your quote cards. Let's get to your quote cards. So everyone knows you again as J Ivory, and your affirmational posts. So you started those, I think you said in 2021.
It was during the pandemic for sure. Okay. I started doing those because we all needed some positivity. And
that's amazing. You were trying to give positivity when you were not in the best positive state. Like your mindset was not positive.
No.
But and then your devotional came out a couple of years later. But this was all through, I think you mentioned your devotional came out around the time of your
doing the spiral. Yes.
So your quote cards coming out, you're going through a hard time, you're writing the devotional. So God is placing these desires on your heart to do, right?
Yeah.
To pour into the lives of other people, even though you're not in the best state.
Yeah.
What was your why? What kept you being obedient to God, even though you were walking through your own personal storm? What helped you continue to take those steps of faith? Why do you feel like God placed it on your heart to do these words of affirmation? And what helped you keep moving forward?
Well, that's a good question, because I kept doing it because I didn't think about it was for me. It was me hacking myself because I love my content. So it was really me creating something that I really liked, that I knew that I would go back and look at. The comments would fuel me because they would say, oh girl, this is the one. Oh, I felt this today. Oh, really? So we both on the same page. We both feel like our life is falling apart, but we are going to tell ourselves, I can do hard things. Okay, great. Okay, I'm not in this alone. And when I realized I wasn't in this alone, and we were walking this thing together, it gave me fuel to keep showing up even when I feel like I didn't have it. Wow. Because it wasn't about like all the comments. It was really just about that one person that was like, girl, me too. We felt locked in. Right. You know, it felt like, okay, we can do this. Let's just take this thing one day at a time. Because life is not going to win out of us, and dragging us across the cement by our edges. And I don't know how we going to do this. So we got to keep telling ourselves that we can do hard things. Like God is with us even in the darkest moments. There's nothing that I'm experiencing right now that God has not prepared me for. Like everything is going to be okay. I just got to keep going.
I love that, hacking yourself. I've never heard that before.
Yes. So social media, we're all on our phones.
Yeah.
So like I am subconsciously going back to my page and looking at my page. That's just a thing that I do because I'm a content creator. I know that sounds weird, but there's sometimes you just go back to your content and look through your content. It is not because you're full of yourself. It's just because you just want to see your content. You like your content
that you created.
So I'm like, I go back and I look at my stories. I go back and look at my reels. I go back and always am looking for something to share. Like, so I'm hacking myself by creating something that I actually like so that I can keep reading it. I can pick my own music. I can write my own words. I can film my own backgrounds. Nobody can tell me what to do.
Right.
And I can do this for myself. This is for me.
I love it.
And that's me hacking myself because I'm going to go back and look at it. So I'm going to reread it.
Right. You're going to be encouraged.
And I'm going to be encouraged.
By it.
Yes.
And I think that's beautiful too, because you didn't set out to do it like, what can I do to get more followers? What can I do to get attention or whatever? You're walking and you're throughout your own gifting. Like you're using the gifts that God has given you and what you genuinely love to do. And you're doing it.
It was fun for me.
Yeah, I love that.
It was like, ooh, I get to write my own stuff how I want to write it, pick my own music, film my own backgrounds, and it be the vibe that I want it to be. And I was like, nobody's checking for me. And I looked up one day and I'm like, oh, we had a million views?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because you never know who is going to touch. Like you never know who is going to reach.
No. It was at one point that there were celebrities sharing them. What? It was really crazy.
Wow. I believe it. Like I said, I found you because my friends and family were sharing your content. So I love that. And I love how now it reaches, like I said before, thousands of people. And you continue to touch the lives of so many people. But it makes me think about that scripture, Proverbs 3:5-6. It's one that everyone knows. But trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight.
Yeah.
And I think about your story with that because when you were going through the storm of your life, you had to trust in the Lord that he will light your path. Like even though on the outside it probably wouldn't make sense. Like, why would she create this content? Like, look at what she's going through.
Yeah.
How can she say that God is showing up in her life? Like, look, it doesn't make sense to our natural minds. And when I think about that scripture, like, I can always relate to the first half, trusting the Lord. For me, I feel like, okay, it's easy to trust in God.
Yeah.
But the lean not unto your own understanding is the part that trips me up.
Baby.
Because I can trust him when it's stuff that I want to do.
That's real.
But when it's like, trust me to stay in this job that I know that I'm ready to leave.
Come on.
Or trust me that it's time for you to leave this job that you're
Yeah.
comfortable in and you want to stay in.
Yeah.
Like that, leaning on your own understanding for me is hard to do when I don't understand how it's going to look in the end.
That's such a natural thing to do, because even I believe Peter, when the fishermen, the 5 fishermen and all getting the fish, and the Lord told him, go back and do it again. And Peter was like, I mean, we did it all night.
Right.
We did it already. And he like, go do it again. And that was trusting. He was like, well, I've been here, done that. But that was trusting the Lord and leaning not to his own understanding. He said, go do it. Even if it's, reluctant obedience, it's still obedience. So trusting in God. He went back to the boat and pulled up all that fish.
Right.
And then it didn't stop there. The thing is, you're going to have to follow me.
Right.
So they had to leave everything. The miracle they just they experienced. Now they thinking they finna be, these men, because this is their livelihood. This is what they do. Fishermen, they thinking their business about to blow up. And he's like, no, I want you to follow me.
Now leave.
So now leave.
Like, imagine God bringing you to a platform that reaches so many people, and it's through whatever gift that, you feel like you have. It's like, okay, I'm here. Like, I've reached my pinnacle of success. And he's like, but now I want you to leave that. And you have no idea what's going to happen.
Or he don't want you to leave it. Now you got to go through hell while having a platform. And that, trusting God, is crazy. Because it's like, I don't understand, why am I going through so much? And I got to uphold a platform too?
Right. I want you to continue in the thing that I called you to do, but now you're navigating these other things.
Because you need to trust me deeper.
Right, because you have to trust me deeper. And I feel like that's your story.
Yeah, 100%.
You were navigating all of these things, but he's like, no, still show up though on social media. Still do your devotional. And just trust me that I'm going to get you through the storm.
Yeah. I had to trust him to get me through a really hard storm. Not working, not being able to get a job, not having any income, being homeless, hoping that he's going to provide a way for you to lay down. Like that season of my life. But God provided every turn. So it's like, I'm willing. If he said walk on water, I would.
Because you've seen him do it before, so you know he's going to do it again.
My memory serves me well.
Yeah. I think that is something that's so powerful to draw on, and I know that helps me in my life too, and I can see that in your story, that when you think about, he did it before, when you think about the character of God.
Think about it.
Then it's like, okay, if he loved me in this space that I was in before, if he made a way out before, if he brought the people and the resources before,
he'll do it again.
Then he'll do it again.
He's no respected person.
He's gonna do it again. He's gonna always show up. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful, DJ. What helps you to keep moving forward? Because I'm sure still today you face trials and you face situations to where you might be like, God, do I still want to do this? What helps you continue to show up today?
I feel like just knowing that he's faithful keeps me going, that I know that he will never leave me nor forsake me. Really remembering that he's a good father and that he does all things well, and constantly reminding myself of that. Like, he brought you through one of the hardest seasons. He's brought you through a lot of hard seasons, and you are here because of God's grace. God has a really good plan, and I might not know all the steps, but I trust him that much to keep going.
That's the key right there. It's not having to know all the steps, at least for me, because I like to know the bigger picture of everything.
Me too.
And it's just like, I just gave you enough manna for today, and just trust that I'm going to give you what you need for today. And I'll give you what you need for the next day. So, final thoughts.
Yes.
Just, do you have any words of encouragement for someone who's watching and they feel that they're in a hopeless season? How would you encourage them to not allow their past to hold them back from the future that God has for them?
If you are in a really dark season and you feel hopeless, remember that you've already survived some of your hardest days and you're still here. So that means that you can do hard things. And I would say, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Take this one day at a time. See the good. Start to count your blessings. every single day. Train your heart to have gratitude, because there is something to be grateful for. And remember, every person that you encounter, I don't care who it is, I don't care the richest person, I don't care the poorest person, we're all struggling with something that we're not talking about. So just practice gratitude and to practice kindness. And that is where you'll find your hope and your faith to keep going.
That's so beautiful, DJ. Thank you for that. I know that this conversation is going to set a lot of people free and encourage them to walk in their God-given purpose and talent. One of the things that I like to ask everyone, because this show is all about us becoming, we're always on a journey of becoming. So who do you see yourself becoming?
Oh my gosh. I see myself becoming more confident in what God has called me to do. I see myself becoming more confident. I'm a little insecure right now. I'm still figuring out.
I'm so surprised.
Oh gosh, I'm still figuring out my voice. I'm still figuring out what I want to say, what I need to say. I'm still finding my way in this space, and I'm still finding my way to use my platform. And so I'm just, I see myself becoming more confident in what God has put in me.
Well, I see a confident woman sitting right before me. Like, I don't see any signs of insecurity, but so you know that whenever I see you, from the very first time that I met you, like, I feel like we just hit it off, and immediately I was like, that's my girl.
100%.
But you've always just exuded that kindness that we talked about in the beginning, that confidence, and just grace. You have such a gracefulness to you.
Thank you.
And so I look forward to seeing who you become as God continues to use you to walk in your gifts and talents. And for those who are watching, I am going to link all of your contact info so they can see all of your affirmation cards and everything that you're doing. And I'm going to link all of that in the description box. But thank you again for joining me today and sharing your story and being vulnerable and open, because I know that's not easy to do.
It is not easy, but that's what healing requires.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know people will be blessed by it just as much as I was. So I love you, DJ, and thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And thank you all for watching Becoming. Again, I hope that you were as blessed as I was by DJ's story. And I look forward to seeing you become all that God has created you to be. Thanks for watching.